Family, friends, how's it going? Shay here, back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over a few recipes that most would consider unhealthy and turning them healthy. First up, banana nut muffins. The recipe calls for 3 bananas, so I took a really ripe banana and then 2 like inedible ones. Very ripe, nasty. So we're gonna turn this into some banana nut muffins. All right, family and friends, I have all the ingredients out in front of me. I know it looks like a huge mess and it looks like a ton of ingredients, but I promise you, you probably have most of these ingredients in your home already. First up, we have some all-purpose flour. This is the King Arthur brand. This flour is actually better than most flours that you get in the store because it's not enriched. Most flours that you find in the store are enriched, meaning they stripped the wheat from the germ and then they put a bunch of synthetic ingredients back into it, which makes it enriched. So this does not have any synthetic ingredients in it. It is the full wheat and the full germ of this all-purpose flour. We're gonna be using a little bit of this. I'm also going to be grinding these oats down into a flour as well. So we're gonna be doing half oat flour, half regular enriched flour to make it a lot healthier. Here we have some pasture-raised eggs. The recipe calls for 2. I have pasture-raised. For the sweetener component, we're gonna be using some organic maple syrup to sweeten the banana nut muffins instead of cane sugar. A lot better for the body to absorb. Instead of those nasty vegetable oils, canola oil, we're gonna be using coconut oil for the oil component. This is a nice, good saturated fat. We're gonna be using some plant-based milk. It calls for a little bit of milk, so we'll use some plant-based milk. Here I have some oat milk. We have some walnuts that I'm gonna be chopping up and putting them inside the banana nut muffins, hence the nut and banana nut muffins. And lastly, what I showed you before are the bananas. It also calls for a few supplemental ingredients that I don't have in front of me, like vanilla extract, which I'll go grab out of the cupboard. Also, it calls for baking soda, which is in the refrigerator, keeping my stuff in the refrigerator fresh. So I'll use a little bit of that as well. So guys, let's get to the recipe. All right, you guys, I like to start with my dry ingredients first. Here I have a spoon and 2 measuring cups because I'm gonna put a 3/4 cup of this all-purpose flour. And I like to spoon in the flour into the cup because flour, when you pack it in there, it packs. So I'm trying to be as exact as possible. So here's a 1/2 cup here, and then let's go to the 4th cup. Again, notice how I'm just lightly putting it in there. Again, trying to be as careful as possible. I know I spilled a little bit of flour in there, but it's not gonna really kill it. So that's a 1/2 or 3/4 cup. I grinded these oats down into a flour, like I was saying. I did it right in my blender. Let's get this out of the way. And we're gonna do 1 cup of the oat flour. So I'll go ahead and get this 1 cup of oat flour into a measuring spoon. Oh, wow. That's crazy how that was like perfect. That was a perfect amount. A little less, but that was dang near perfect. And now we're gonna move on to the salt. It asks for a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I just used a little bit of salt here. 1 whole teaspoon of baking soda. Let's take our rubber spatula, mix these dry ingredients up. Nice. Now let's set the dry ingredients over to the side and let's do our wet. Let's start off with our bananas. Let's peel these babies up. Notice how these bananas just fall apart. You want them nice and ripe and falling apart like this. That's gonna make for some really nice, flavorful banana nut muffins. There we go. Get them in the bowl. Yeah, your hands will get a little bit messy, but that's okay. Not the end of the world. Take a fork, mash it up. Grind it all the way down. Grind these babies down. Pasty consistency. Yeah, I can really smell a banana. Yeah. Don't worry if there's a little bit of lumps in here. They'll bake down in the oven. All right, family, friends. 2 eggs. 1. 2. Got a 1/3 cup of coconut milk. Coconut oil. 1/3 cup of coconut oil. A 1/2 cup of maple syrup. Yum, yum. All right, let's stop there and mix. I don't want to get things too separate it to where it won't mix. Make sure those eggs really get incorporated. Nice. Now we're gonna go for a 1/4 cup of milk, plant-based. Coarse. There we go. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Let's eyeball her. That's about a teaspoon. A little more won't hurt nobody. And there she wrote. Now we're gonna mix the wet with the dry. Add those nuts. And then start putting our muffins together. Here we have our dry. Hope you ain't forgot about her. Let's add the wet into the dry. Make sure everything gets incorporated. You can also use either a stand mixer or a hand mixer, or you could be like me, that elbow grease in there. Get her mixed up. What I'm going to add, because I've never used this recipe before and I never used the oat flour, what I'm gonna add, just to make sure it rises, I'm just gonna add a little bit of baking powder. We'll put about a teaspoon, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder in there, just to make sure it rises. I don't want any issues with the rise. And then let's get our walnuts, crumble them in there. There's really no special way to do it, but just taking your hands and crumbling the walnuts into, you know, bite-sized pieces. I like the unevenness of the walnuts, some big pieces, some small pieces in there. But it adds some texture. I like the texture it adds. I like the flavor it adds too. It has a really nice, nutty, buttery flavor to it. Here we go. Cinnamon is also optional in this recipe, but I don't like the cinnamon taste in my banana nut muffins, so I just omit that. I really don't like the way that tastes. All right, moving on to the very last step. Let's get these babies into the pan and into the oven. Here I have this muffin pan here that I'm gonna spray with a little bit of coconut oil. Spray with a little bit of coconut oil to ensure they don't stick. Uh-oh, coconut oil, come on now. And then let's spoon the mixture into the muffin tin. I like to fill it not completely to the top, maybe about 3/4 of the way to the top. Don't worry if you make a little bit of a mess. You can clean it up. I'm not a very tidy baker, as you could see. I make a mess when I cook, but that's okay. As long as you clean up along the way, you should be Gucci. You know what I mean? We're all imperfectly perfect, but this is such a great recipe, you guys. You guys should try it. Just enough. So as you can see, I made a bit of a mess. We're gonna clean up that tin a little bit, throw it in the oven, and I'll show you guys the finished product. All right, guys, the kitchen is a mess, as you can see. So we're gonna do a little bit of cleaning. But before I do that, I wanna show you guys something. So before I break my fast, this is kind of right after I got out of the gym too. I've been breaking my fast with this green juice. I made a green goddess green juice a couple of weeks ago. You guys can go check that video out. But this green juice is actually called a geogenetic green juice. I actually got this from another creator. His name is Yaki Awakened. He is a holistic healer. And this has really been doing wonders for my blood pressure, believe it or not. Actually better than the Green Goddess green juice. Comment below if you want to see me make a video on this geogenetic green juice. But I've been drinking it probably about 8 ounces every single day. for the past couple weeks, and I already feel a difference. It's just really a great juice. I thought I'd share it with y'all while I clean up and get ready for the next recipe. It don't taste bad either. It got a little kick to it, a little bite from the cayenne pepper. But that cayenne pepper is really opening up my blood vessels, right? Because high blood pressure is just restricted blood flow. So it's really helping open up those blood vessels, the capillaries and the veins, to help blood flow to and away from the heart a lot better. Because you only get one heart, and I'm trying to be on this planet for a while. So let's get into the next recipe. Family, friends, look at how gorgeous those look. Look. Oh my God, they smell amazing, they look amazing. I can't wait to try them. I'm about to shower, get out of these nasty gym clothes, but stay tuned.